So in this video we are going to look how NodeJS works. So as we know that NodeJS is a non-blocking and asynchronous. So what is asynchronous? So let's take a real-time example of a restaurant. So suppose there's a restaurant, and in the restaurant there's a kitchen and there's a tables, and in this restaurant only one waiter is working currently. So how in asynchronous way, how he will take the order from all the tables? Suppose this is the table 1, table 2, table 3 and table 4. So first I'll tell the synchronous way to take the order from all the tables. So he will take the order from table 1, he will place that order to the kitchen, and until and unless the order is prepared, he won't take the order from the table 2. So this is a blocking kind of scenario. So that scenario we are calling synchronous. Suppose, so the asynchronous way of taking order would be, first the waiter will take the order from the table number 1 and he will place the order to the kitchen. So immediately he will move to the table number 2 and he will take the order, and again he will place. So by that time the food for the table number 1 will be prepared. So the same way he will do for the table number 3 and table number 4. So in the restaurant, if there's a n number of tables, so for only one person it's very easy to maintain. So the same way, so there is a event queue. So event queue in the restaurant is a tables, and there is something called event emitter, event loop. So this event loop is nothing but this waiter, and there is some worker threads. So whenever we are executing a JavaScript code by using NodeJS, so what happens? So all the codes are getting stored in this event queue, and this event emitter keeps watching this queue. So if this emitter finds something, suppose there is a code like console.log you want to print, so it doesn't take that much of time, right? It's not a time taking code. So what will happen? It will execute this console log and give it back to the client. And suppose there is a this kind of code like console log and then set timeout, and there's one more console log, so which prints number 2 and the first one prints number 1, and in between there is something. So in the set timeout we are printing number 5. So the result would be 1, 2, 5, because this set timeout code is by default it's asynchronous code. So let's take an example of this. If we are executing the same code in the node, what will happen? So first this console log, so let's remove this one. Okay, so what will happen? First this code will get stored in the queue, and after that this code will get stored, and after that this last console log. So event queue will first take this console log and it will check. It's a non-blocking code. Okay, it's a simple code, it won't take that much of time. So immediately it will execute this code and give it back to the client. So when in the next round, say event queue will find there's a asynchronous code. So in this case what will happen? It will take this code, because it will take some time, right? In the set timeout, if you are giving the execution time is suppose 2 milliseconds. So it's a time taking. In real time example, some code which will be having some query, some data from the database. So in such case it will take this code and it will assign to some worker thread. Okay, so and event loop won't get stopped by that time. It will again move and it will take the last one, which is console log, this number 2, and it will take and it will execute and give it back to the client again. So by that time, if this set timeout is getting executed properly, so the result will be passed to this queue again with the help of callback function. So callback function has two parameters. The first one is the error, and the second one is the data. Yeah. Okay, so after that, once it's getting passed to this queue again, so event loop will take this result and give it back to the client. So this is how Node.js works. So that's why we are telling that Node.js is a single threaded application. Yeah, actually it's a single threaded application, but since it's it's using C++ internally, so it used some worker threads. So actually it's not a single threaded application, but yeah, it's a single threaded.